Hey guys, today we're going to be continuing our looks at the DC Comics Multiverse Steppenwolf wave as we have a look at Wonder Woman. Grabbing the old tape measure, Wonder Woman stands, if you technically count the top of the sculpted hair, she stands at 6.5 inches tall. Her collect and connect piece, she includes one of the arms for Ares. And we can go ahead and just bring the hinge down. These hinges are always really super stiff. Take it and plug it, of course, into the torso area here, and you have to kind of get it underneath the shoulder pad area, but there you go. We've got now, we're really only missing one arm, and once we get ourselves the review of once we get our review of Cyborg out of the way, we'll of course have the finished arm, and then we can get ourselves a completed Steppenwolf, which I have to say actually is quite impressive, I have to admit, so far. Digging the way he looks. Okay, so let's have a look at Wonder Woman. I know what you're thinking. We'll just discuss this right off the bat. Wonder Woman here is a reuse. Basically, just a repackage, more so, of the Toys R Us exclusive Wonder Woman that was from the DC Multiverse Wonder Woman movie line. Now, there was one, of course, with her with the robe on, and then she had the hood, like the cloak, I guess you want to look at it that way. But then there was also a Toys R Us exclusive, which I ended up finding and did a review of her as well. So basically, she is the exact same figure. There's nothing really different between her and the Toys R Us exclusive. If you aren't scoping out specifically to collect and build Steppenwolf, I would say right off the bat, this figure is one that you don't necessarily need to pick up because you've already been there and you've already done that. There's, again, nothing different between her and the Toys R Us exclusive. She does come with these two accessories, two of them. She comes with one the wound up, wrapped up lasso, and it's just a soft plastic. And there's actually a little, just move her arm out of the way, there's a little clip here that plugs into place. You just simply open that up and drape the lasso into there and plug it back into place. And it gives a nice secure fit. You can keep that out of the way. She does also come with a sword. Sadly, she doesn't come with a shield, but she comes also with a sword, which has some nice paintwork there to it, with the black handle, some accents there of gold, and of course a highly detailed actual blade painted in silver. You can either put it into her hand, or there's a little looplet right at the side of her belt that this just sits inside of. So again, you can kind of hide and tuck away everything for Wonder Woman if you don't want to have her displayed with. I probably would display her with the sword. The handle seems like it's a little on the large side, but once it gets into her hand, it seems like it's okay. It does seem like it is a little too big for her, but at least it sits securely and it doesn't move around on you when you have her on display. And equally so, you could have it in both hands really if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and take the sword out of place, or out of her hand. Yeah, there's not really much to be said for this particular Wonder Woman, but if we kind of divert ourselves away from the fact that this is just basically a repackaged Wonder Woman from the Toys R Us exclusive, and looking at it solely from the merits of the figure itself, it's actually a really nice looking Wonder Woman, and so far the best Wonder Woman that we've gotten from the DC Multiverse line, at least of the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. Face sculpt, I think, is really good. Does it look like her? Maybe not. Certain angles you might get a slight trace of Gadot in the sculpt, but for the most part, it's just a really pretty sculpted Wonder Woman. Now, Henry Cavill's Superman, for example, is still not a great head sculpt. It does look like a good Superman sculpt, but again, it doesn't look like Henry Cavill. But I think I'm a little bit more accepting of the Wonder Woman here than I am of this Superman. One thing to note, though, is moving the hair out of the way. I can't begin to express my utmost concern for the lack of quality here. I don't know if they paint. It almost looks like it's paint it actually, you know what, the more I look at it, it looks like it's scraped away paint. Perhaps like there was still glue or, yeah, see, there was still glue or something on the underside of her hair that got stuck to the torso and has just yanked away the paint from her flesh. It's so gross. Granted, you're not going to really see it from the back, but it should never really get to this point where if you move anything out of the way, it's hiding imperfections, which essentially is what we're getting right here. And it's over here as well. I don't know what's going on. The hair sculpt is good. The outfit is good. It looks a little diapery here, where it looks like it's very puffy in the skirt area, because it looks like it's they've just applied this as a separate piece over top of her torso. If you can kind of get past the fact that it looks a little on the swollen side here, it's actually a decent sculpt on her outfit. A little bit of gold imperfection there, a little extra gold paint that got splotched there. Other than that, and the area of the hair, paint's pretty clean. To note as well, she has absolutely no peg holes on the undersides of her feet. I don't know why they went what decision making did they go through here? Every figure that we've looked at so far from the Justice League line has had peg holes, and yet for some strange reason, the one figure that you would almost warrant having peg holes, they've left completely off. I don't get the reasoning behind that, but you know, it is there. Again, like, other than this being the problem, other than the fact that the skirt looks a little swollen, it is one of the better, if not the best, Wonder Woman movie tie-in figure that we've gotten from Mattel. Let's run through her posability here. As you could probably expect it, her head articulation is bare minimum. You can rotate it a little bit, but the hair really fights a lot of this from being able to move properly. The shoulders allow the arms to rotate outward as well as rotate all the way around. She has the swivel in the bicep, a hinge on the elbow, which also allows the forearm to rotate, and she also has a rotation in the wrist. She doesn't have a crunch, mind you, but she does have a swivel in her waist. Legs go forward and back and out. Luckily, the diaper skirt, I'm just going to call it that from now on, is soft enough that you at least can move the legs outward, forward and back, and it doesn't seem hindered at all. She has a swivel on the lower cut of her thigh, a hinge on the knee. It doesn't allow, and I thought it would have allowed for a swivel here, but it is actually just a hinge. So don't try to turn this, because that's going to add stress to the joint. And finally, Wonder Woman, wrapping up her posability, also has hinges in her feet. A lot of people who look for ankle pivots, unfortunately, will have to look elsewhere. Wonder Woman sadly does not have any. Now, personally, am I bothered by the fact that this is a double-dipped figure? They really didn't do anything different between this one and the Toys R Us exclusive. So am I bothered by it? Surprisingly, no. If this was an exact carbon copy to the one that we either got in the Batman v Superman line or the retail regular release of the Wonder Woman from the Multiverse line, I would be crying foul. Specifically because this one was a Toys R Us exclusive. Maybe some collectors didn't get a chance to get her initially because maybe your Toys R Us just didn't simply have it. Does warrant the fact that then picking this particular figure up. Again, if it was a regular release Wonder Woman where this was the Wonder Woman that we had gotten before, I think I would be a much more disappointed collector having now picking her up probably a second or even third time to get the necessary component that I would need to finish Steppenwolf. If you didn't get a chance to get her in the Toys R Us exclusive from the Wonder Woman line, of course, I would say this figure I would highly recommend picking up because it's still one of the best Gal Gadot Wonder Womans that we've gotten from the Multiverse line. If you did, however, pick her up already from the Toys R Us exclusive, and you have zero ankling to collect and build Steppenwolf, then I would say that this figure, for obvious reasons, is a pass. It's a figure that really doesn't bring much more to the table that the Toys R Us exclusive didn't already have. So for that reason, I would say you don't really need to pick this one up. Today, though, we were having a look and continuing our looks at the Justice League movie figures. Super excited now to be having a look at these. Today, we were having a look at Wonder Woman. If you guys like this video, always appreciate when you hit it with a like down below. New subscribers are always welcome, and if you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet to this channel, hit that little subscribe button down below. You won't miss a beat when it comes to future videos. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. See you next time.